The identity crisis hiding behind your success. Most people who achieve everything they thought they wanted experience a profound identity crisis when they reach their goals. The corner office, the six-figure salary, the recognition from peers, the social media following. They get it all, and then ask themselves who they actually are underneath these accomplishments. This isn't failure. This is the natural consequence of building your identity around external achievements rather than internal understanding. Research from SHRM shows that 44% of US employees feel burned out. But what's more telling is that 42% worry their career will be impacted if they talk about mental health challenges. This statistic reveals something crucial about how we define success and self-worth in our current culture. We've created environments where appearing successful matters more than actually feeling fulfilled, where maintaining professional personas takes precedence over authentic self-expression. The achievements that took years to build become masks that hide who you actually are. You develop professional personas, social media personalities, and public identities that generate approval and advancement. But these external presentations often have little connection to your authentic thoughts, feelings, and desires. You become skilled at performing the version of yourself that succeeds in your environment, while your actual self remains unknown and undeveloped. This performance becomes so automatic that you lose track of where the mask ends and your authentic self begins. You make decisions based on what will maintain your image rather than what aligns with your values. You pursue opportunities that look impressive rather than those that feel meaningful. You develop relationships that serve your professional goals rather than ones that nourish your emotional needs. The success you achieve feels hollow because it belongs to the persona you've created rather than the person you actually are. Hedonic adaptation explains why external success doesn't create lasting fulfillment. Your brain is designed to return to baseline levels of satisfaction regardless of positive or negative changes in your circumstances. The promotion that seemed like it would solve all your problems provides temporary satisfaction before becoming your new normal. The recognition you worked years to achieve feels meaningful for a few weeks before you start craving the next level of acknowledgement. This psychological principle means that each external achievement provides diminishing returns on your investment of time and energy. You need increasingly impressive accomplishments to generate the same feelings of satisfaction and self-worth. This creates what researchers identify as the hedonic treadmill, where you're constantly pursuing the next goal without ever reaching lasting contentment. You achieve success but not fulfillment because fulfillment requires internal alignment rather than external validation. Societal definitions of success often conflict directly with personal values and purpose. Culture tells you that wealth, status, and recognition represent achievement, but these markers might have nothing to do with what actually matters to you. You might value creativity, connection, or contribution, but you pursue financial success because that's what your family, peers, and society recognize as valuable. This misalignment creates internal tension that no amount of external success can resolve. Research shows that people who achieve external success without internal alignment experience higher rates of depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges. Their accomplishments feel meaningless because they don't reflect their authentic interests or values. They've invested years building lives that look successful from the outside, but feel empty from the inside. This disconnection between external achievement and internal satisfaction often leads to what psychologists call existential depression, a deep questioning of meaning and purpose that success can't answer. The difference between authentic achievement and performative achievement becomes crucial for understanding this crisis. Authentic achievement emerges from actions aligned with your core values and genuine interests. These accomplishments feel satisfying because they represent genuine expressions of who you are and what matters to you. Performative achievement, on the other hand, serves the goal of impressing others or meeting external expectations. These successes might advance your career or social standing, but they don't create lasting satisfaction because they don't reflect your authentic self. The silence around mental health struggles compounds this identity crisis. NOMI research reveals that only 13% of people tell their manager when they're suffering mentally. This statistic highlights how we've created professional environments where vulnerability is seen as weakness and authenticity is viewed as career suicide. When you can't express your genuine struggles or authentic self in the spaces where you spend most of your time, you become increasingly disconnected from who you actually are. Building authentic identity requires the courage to acknowledge when your external achievements don't align with your internal values. This process demands confronting the uncomfortable reality that much of what you've achieved might not reflect who you actually are or what you actually want. It requires distinguishing between goals you've adopted from external sources and ones that emerge from your authentic interests and values. Redefining success on your own terms requires extraordinary courage because it often means disappointing people whose approval you've worked years to earn. It might mean leaving prestigious positions for work that feels more meaningful but looks less impressive on paper. It might mean pursuing creative projects that don't generate income rather than focusing exclusively on financial advancement. It might mean prioritizing personal relationships over professional networking opportunities. True success isn't about becoming who others expect you to be. It's about becoming who you actually are. This shift requires developing the internal awareness to distinguish between your authentic desires and the expectations you've internalized from external sources. Start by journaling 3 core values that feel genuinely important to you, not values you think you should have, or ones that look good on paper. These values become your compass for making decisions that create authentic fulfillment rather than impressive achievements. When you begin aligning your actions with your authentic values, the energy
You'll notice
something
that's
interesting
draining your
about
life
how you
force.
spend your time.
What you discover
and energy
is
throughout
that
each
most
day.
people
are systematically bleeding away their life force without realizing it. Research shows that 82% of workers are at burnout risk, and this energy depletion stems from a fundamental misalignment between daily activities and core values. Your energy isn't unlimited. Your attention isn't infinite. Your time isn't expandable. When you commit to activities that feel obligatory rather than meaningful, you reduce your capacity to engage fully with the people and projects that could transform your life. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values, you're automatically saying no to something that does. This trade-off happens unconsciously throughout your day, creating a pattern where you're always too exhausted to pursue your authentic interests. Consider how many hours you spend each week in meetings that accomplish nothing meaningful, maintaining relationships that feel draining rather than nourishing, or working on projects that serve other people's agendas rather than your own. Each of these activities requires mental and emotional energy that becomes unavailable for creative pursuits, meaningful relationships, or personal growth. Living out of alignment with your authentic self creates a constant state of internal resistance that exhausts you on a cellular level. When your daily actions conflict with your deeper values and desires, your nervous system experiences this mismatch as stress. Workplace burnout alone costs the global economy $322 billion annually, and this financial impact reflects the real human cost of energy depletion. The exhaustion affects your decision-making capacity, making it harder to recognize and address the patterns that keep you trapped in misaligned activities. The connection between energy management and self-respect runs deeper than most people realize. How you protect and allocate your energy reflects how much you value your own time, goals, and well-being. When you consistently give your best energy to activities that don't serve your authentic interests, you're communicating to yourself and others that your personal priorities don't matter. This pattern erodes self-respect and creates a cycle where you feel increasingly powerless to change your circumstances. GWI research shows that 67% of workers want hybrid arrangements, specifically for better work-life balance, highlighting how boundary setting has become essential for energy protection. High-performing individuals treat their energy as their most valuable resource, protecting it with the same intensity they would protect their financial investments. They recognize that success isn't about working harder or longer hours. It's about directing their best energy toward activities that create the greatest impact. They say no to opportunities that look impressive, but don't align with their core objectives, even when refusing these opportunities feels uncomfortable or potentially costly. Digital detox policies demonstrate the practical impact of energy conservation. Organizations implementing these policies see burnout risk reduction of 12%, proving that protecting mental space from constant connectivity creates measurable improvements in employee well-being. These high performers often describe their energy management strategies in terms of investment rather than expenditure. They look for activities that generate more energy than they consume, creating positive feedback loops that increase their capacity over time. Energy auditing provides a systematic approach to identifying where your life force gets wasted throughout your day. This process involves tracking your energy levels before and after different activities to identify patterns you might not notice otherwise. You rate your energy on a scale from 1 to 10 before engaging in various tasks. Then rate it again afterward to see which activities drain you and which ones energize you. Most people discover surprising patterns through this auditing process. Activities they assumed were energizing actually leave them feeling depleted, while others they considered draining provide unexpected boosts to their vitality. The key insight emerges from recognizing that energy isn't just about physical exertion. Mental and emotional activities can be far more draining than physical ones when they conflict with your authentic interests and values. The relationship between energy conservation and creative potential reveals why protecting your life force becomes essential for meaningful achievement. Creativity requires mental space, emotional availability, and sustained attention that become impossible when your energy gets scattered across numerous draining activities. Your best ideas emerge during periods of relaxed focus that only become available when you've eliminated the energy leaks that keep you operating in survival mode. When you audit your energy and eliminate the activities that drain you without providing meaningful returns, you create space for the creative insights and innovative solutions that can transform your work and relationships. This isn't about becoming lazy or selfish. It's about recognizing that your authentic contributions to the world require protecting the energy that makes those contributions possible. Plugging your energy leaks isn't selfish. It's essential for showing up fully for what truly matters. When you protect your life force from activities that don't align with your values, you increase your capacity to contribute meaningfully to your work, relationships, and community. You become more present, more creative, and more capable of creating the positive impact that emerges from living in alignment with your authentic self. But even when you successfully protect your energy and align your activities with your values, you might still find yourself feeling inadequate or behind. This feeling often stems from a modern phenomenon that's more pervasive and destructive than most people realize. The comparison trap that's stealing your joy. Social media has created a comparison machine that systematically destroys self-worth on a global scale. Research shows that 46% of female workers experience burnout compared to 35% of male workers, and much of this disparity stems from the additional pressure to maintain perfect online personas while managing real-world responsibilities. You're no longer comparing yourself to people whose complete stories you understand. Instead, you're measuring your behind-the-scenes reality against other people's highlight reels, creating an impossible standard that guarantees feelings of inadequacy. Every post you see represents someone's best moment from their week, month, or year. The vacation photos don't show the months of saving money or the relationship conflicts that happened during the trip. The career announcements don't mention the rejections, failures, and sleepless nights that preceded the success. The family pictures don't capture the arguments, stress, and chaos that exist between those perfect moments. You're comparing your ordinary Tuesday afternoon to someone else's extraordinary once-in-a-lifetime experience. Very well-mined research reveals that 63% of Gen Z reported poor mental health in the past month, with social media comparison being a significant contributing factor. This generation has grown up with constant access to curated perfection, creating unprecedented levels of anxiety and self-doubt. When you see posts about achievements you haven't reached, relationships that look happier than yours, or lifestyles that seem more exciting than your own, your brain interprets this information as evidence that you're falling behind in some cosmic competition for resources and status. The fear of missing out has reached epidemic proportions, with 72% of remote and hybrid workers refusing to take sick days because they worry about falling behind or appearing less committed than their colleagues. This statistic reveals how comparison culture has infiltrated even our most basic self-care decisions. Your nervous system responds to social media comparison with the same stress hormones it would release if you were facing actual physical danger, keeping you in a state of psychological emergency that makes clear thinking and confident decision-making nearly impossible. The most confident people have discovered something crucial about using other people's success. Instead of viewing achievements as evidence of their own inadequacy, they treat them as proof of what's possible. When they see someone accomplish something impressive, their first thought isn't "why haven't I done that?" but "how can I learn from their approach?" This shift in perspective transforms potential sources of intimidation into valuable sources of inspiration and learning. These confident individuals often describe a mental process where they automatically look for lessons rather than reasons to feel bad about themselves. They ask questions like, what strategies did this person use? What obstacles did they overcome? And how can I apply their insights to my own goals? This curiosity-based approach to other people's success creates positive emotions and practical knowledge, rather than negative emotions and self-criticism. Comparison significantly impairs creativity and risk-taking behavior. When you're constantly measuring yourself against others, your brain becomes risk-averse because failure would provide more evidence of your inadequacy relative to your perceived competition. You avoid pursuing innovative ideas, unconventional approaches, or ambitious goals because the possibility of falling short feels too threatening to your already fragile self-image. This comparison-induced risk aversion creates a vicious cycle where you play it safe to protect your ego, but playing it safe prevents you from achieving the kinds of results that would actually build genuine confidence. You end up trapped in mediocrity, not because you lack talent or ambition, but because you're too afraid of looking foolish compared to others to attempt anything that might fail spectacularly, but could also succeed dramatically. The concept of competitive collaboration offers an alternative to destructive comparison that transforms relationships with peers from sources of threat into sources of mutual growth. Instead of viewing others as rivals whose success diminishes your own prospects, you can approach them as potential collaborators whose achievements create opportunities for everyone to rise together. This collaborative mindset recognizes that success isn't a zero-sum game where someone else's win requires your loss. People who embrace competitive collaboration often find that their own success accelerates because they're no longer wasting energy on resentment, jealousy, and self-criticism. Instead, they're channeling that energy into building relationships, acquiring knowledge, and pursuing goals that align with their authentic interests rather than their need to prove superiority over others. Focusing on your unique path eliminates the need for comparison because it recognizes that everyone is playing a different game with different rules, different starting points, and different definitions of success. Your background, interests, strengths, challenges, and goals create a combination that has never existed before and will never exist again. Comparing your unique journey to someone else's equally unique journey is like comparing a symphony to a painting and trying to determine which one is better. Try implementing one daily social media-free hour to break the comparison cycle. Digital detox research shows measurable improvements in mental well-being and self-perception within just weeks of reducing social media consumption. During this hour, notice how your thoughts shift from external comparison to internal awareness. Pay attention to what concerns, ideas, or desires surface when you're not immediately reaching for validation or distraction through other people's curated content. The liberation that comes from celebrating others without diminishing yourself represents one of the most powerful shifts you can make in how you relate to success and achievement. When you can genuinely feel happy for someone else's accomplishments without immediately thinking about how their success reflects on your own worth, you experience a kind of emotional freedom that most people never discover. When you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you can finally start writing your own story. Every person you admire had a beginning that looked nothing like their current success. They had moments of doubt, failure, and uncertainty that don't appear in their highlight reels. Your current chapter is the foundation for whatever you want to build, and building something authentic requires focusing on your own plot rather than trying to rewrite someone else's narrative. But breaking free from comparison is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you address the underlying foundation that makes all other changes possible. The mental health revolution you need to join. That foundation starts with understanding something that fundamentally changes how you think about success. 79% of professionals experienced workplace stress in 2025. But here's what makes this statistic devastating. It's not just about feeling overwhelmed at work. This represents a complete breakdown in how we approach performance and productivity, where the very pursuit of success creates the conditions that make success impossible. The conversation around mental health has undergone a radical transformation that most people haven't fully grasped yet. What was once viewed as personal weakness or character flaw is now recognized as the foundation of competitive advantage. NOMI research reveals that 1 in 4 workers considered quitting their jobs over mental health concerns, highlighting the urgent need for organizations and individuals to prioritize psychological well-being. The executives, entrepreneurs, and high performers who dominate their fields aren't the ones who ignore their mental health until crisis forces their attention. They're the ones who prioritize psychological well-being as a strategic investment in their capacity to think clearly, make decisions effectively, and sustain high performance over decades rather than months. This shift becomes evident when you examine the direct connection between mental health and performance outcomes. Research shows that 91% of respondents say unmanageable stress impacts their work quality, creating a direct line between psychological well-being and professional achievement. The Bureau of Labor Statistics and SHRM data on burnout confirms this performance link, showing that organizations with higher rates of employee burnout consistently underperform in productivity, innovation, and retention metrics. Consider how business leaders who treat therapy, meditation, and stress management as core components of their professional development rather than optional wellness activities consistently outperform those who view mental health as separate from business strategy. This approach represents a fundamental shift from treating mental health as damage control to treating it as performance enhancement. Unprocessed emotions and chronic stress create what neuroscientists call cognitive fog, a state where your brain's executive function becomes impaired in ways that directly undermine your ability to succeed. When you carry unresolved anxiety, anger, or sadness, these emotions consume mental bandwidth that would otherwise be available for creative thinking, strategic planning, and complex problem solving. Your brain can't simultaneously process emotional turbulence and perform high-level cognitive tasks at full capacity. This cognitive fog manifests in subtle but devastating ways. You find yourself unable to concentrate during important meetings, making decisions based on immediate emotional reactions rather than long-term strategic thinking, or avoiding challenging conversations that could advance your goals because the emotional weight feels too overwhelming. The fog doesn't announce itself dramatically. It gradually reduces your mental clarity until mediocre thinking starts feeling normal. The latest neuroplasticity research reveals something remarkable about how mental health practices literally reshape your brain structure. When you engage in regular therapy, meditation, or mindfulness practices, you're not just managing symptoms or feeling better temporarily. You're actually strengthening neural pathways associated with emotional regulation, attention control, and stress resilience, while weakening the connections that create anxiety, depression, and chronic stress responses. Brain imaging studies show that people who maintain consistent mental health practices develop thicker prefrontal cortexes, the brain region responsible for executive function and decision-making. They also show increased activity in areas associated with empathy and emotional intelligence, while showing decreased reactivity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. These aren't temporary changes that disappear when you stop the practices. They represent permanent structural improvements that compound over years of consistent attention to mental health. Successful people have integrated mental health practices into their daily routines with the same consistency they apply to physical exercise or professional responsibilities. These individuals don't wait until they feel overwhelmed or face major crises to invest in their mental health. They treat psychological well-being as preventive care that maintains their capacity to perform at high levels consistently. They schedule therapy appointments like they schedule board meetings, protect time for meditation like they protect time for important client calls, and prioritize stress management like they prioritize financial management. The concept of emotional fitness provides a framework for understanding why mental health deserves the same systematic attention you give to physical fitness. Just as you wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training your cardiovascular system, you can't expect to handle the emotional and psychological demands of ambitious goals without developing your emotional resilience, stress tolerance, and emotional regulation capabilities. Emotional fitness involves developing specific skills like recognizing emotional patterns before they escalate, communicating needs clearly without aggression or passive aggression, and maintaining perspective during stressful situations that would typically trigger panic or overwhelm. These skills require practice and development, just like physical strength or technical expertise. Therapy, meditation, and mindfulness have evolved from being viewed as interventions for mental illness to being recognized as optimization tools for peak performance. Executive coaching now routinely incorporates mindfulness techniques because companies recognize that leaders who can maintain calm clarity under pressure make better decisions and inspire more confidence in their teams. Meditation isn't about achieving some mystical state of enlightenment. It's about training your attention to remain focused on what you choose, rather than being pulled constantly toward whatever feels most urgent or emotionally charged. This attention training directly improves your ability to concentrate during important work, listen effectively during crucial conversations, and maintain strategic thinking when immediate pressures demand reactive responses. The compound returns from investing in mental health extend far beyond improved mood or reduced anxiety. When you process emotions effectively, you make decisions based on clear thinking rather than emotional reactivity. When you manage stress well, you maintain energy and creativity that would otherwise be consumed by chronic tension. When you develop emotional intelligence, you build stronger relationships that create opportunities and support systems unavailable to people who neglect their psychological development. These returns multiply over time because each improvement in mental health creates conditions that make further improvements more likely. Better emotional regulation leads to better relationships, which create more support and less isolation. Reduced anxiety leads to better decision-making, which creates better outcomes and increased confidence. Improved stress management leads to better physical health, which provides more energy for pursuing meaningful goals. Schedule a 20-minute mindfulness break this week, proven by meditation research to boost resilience and cognitive function. Research consistently shows that people who prioritize mental health report higher levels of life satisfaction, achieve better performance in their chosen fields, and maintain these results over longer periods without burning out. They don't work harder than people who neglect their psychological well-being. They work more effectively because their mental resources aren't constantly diverted toward managing unprocessed stress and emotions. Taking care of your mental health isn't maintenance. It's the foundation for everything else you want to build. Without psychological stability and emotional resilience, every other goal becomes harder to achieve and impossible to sustain. When you invest consistently in your mental health, you create the internal conditions that make external success not just possible but inevitable.